What's poppin'? It's your girl, Black Diamond Mzfit. And I want to talk to you about my ancestry DNA test that I took to find out who my father was. Well, if you are a fan of mine and you seen my videos, you know the reason why. So I want to talk to you more about now that I've done it. What did I do when I found out? Well, when I found out that I had a sibling first, I didn't find out who my father was at that time. I found out that I had a sibling on Ancestry DNA test, and I was asking questions to a lot of people because I got a lot of hits. A lot of people didn't know nothing. A lot of people did, but they didn't know who my father was at all. So the hit that I had got was from my biological sister from my father's side's mother. And I was like, oh my God, this is my grandmother from my father's side. So I had messaged them and said, listen, I think I'm your granddaughter. It says 100% on the Ancestry DNA test. And the lady said, no, I'm sure I'm not your grandmother. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, I think I'm your granddaughter. And she said, no, that's not possible. I said, well, it's 100% that we are blood. She said, no, you're talking about my daughter. We both took an Ancestry DNA test. And I was like, wow. I said, okay, well, who's her father? What's her father's name? And she said the name, and I was like, oh my God, I have a name. So she told me who her daughter's name was, my sister, and I started searching for her on Facebook, and I searched for her on Facebook, and when I reached her, I didn't know if it was going to be an old Facebook or a new Facebook, but I did reach her. And I was like, hello, my name is Sandra, and I did an Ancestry DNA test, and I'm looking for my father, and you and I are sisters. It's 100% that we're sisters. It's because on the Ancestry DNA test, it says it could be a grandmother, a grandmother, a grandparent, cousins, sibling, So on mine's it's sibling. So she reached out to me maybe weeks or a month later, or whatever. Yeah, we started talking, and we both cried on the phone and everything because she had no clue. I had no clue because I didn't even know I even had any siblings because I wasn't even looking for siblings. I was looking for my father. When I found out I had a sister, I was like, wow, okay, this is new, and I'm here for it. And so we talked on the phone for hours, days and weeks at a time, and one day she said, listen, how far is it to drive down there? My sister is from Texas. And I'm like, what? She says, how is it, how many hours do you think it is from Texas to drive down there? I was like, oh my God, I don't know. I said, I know I drove to Florida, and it took me no less than 24 hours. And she said, I think I'm going to drive down there. I was like, oh my God, by yourself? I'm like, you can't do that. So we talked and everything for weeks at a time and everything. So she decided, she's like, you know what? I'm just going to fly out there. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm here for it. So a few weeks later after that, she did fly out. And I met her at the airport. And I have to say, that was one of the most happiest days of my life because I got to see and hug somebody from my father's side, my sister. And it was a long time coming because I always knew that I was different from, my mother's my mother's biological side and from my siblings. And I always wanted to know who my father was, what did he look like, and I never thought I had any siblings. That was the last thing that crossed my mind. I was just on this mission to find who my father was, and when I seen her, I just smiled. We both smiled. We both cried just a little bit of it. We were just so much into excitement that we were just like, come on, let's go. And she stayed for a week. I think it was a week. And showed her around just a little bit. Now, mind you, it was quarantine. There was really nothing to show. And I'm from a small town. There's really nothing there to see. And it was the happiest day of my life. And when she had to leave, and I dropped her off at the airport, I was sad. I was very much sad. Because now, at this time, my sister and my brothers, we were estranged at this time. We were estranged. We've always been estranged, though. I hope I'm saying the word right. We've always been on and off. For years. And when my sister left, I was lonely after that. Because I was like, I finally got something that was mine and nobody can take it away from me. So, now she left and it's just my husband and I and my daughter, my baby, who was 21 at that time, I think. And she left. So now, we're talking on the phone, and, for weeks at a time, months at a time. And I'm having problems with my landlord. He was from one of those, I was just having problems with my landlord. To the fact that he was coming in and out of my house without me not knowing. And he was really, really creepy. Really, really creepy. And we wind up putting a lot of locks on the back door because he was coming from this one door that he kept opening. And I was like, I'm going to have to do something about this. So we put cameras outside the house, outside our front and back door, and inside the house. So it just felt uncomfortable to be there. So I was telling my sister this, and she was like, well, why don't you move to Texas? I was like, what? She was like, yeah, why don't you move to Texas? And I was like, I'll think about it because that's a big move. Now, I have to say, I had my baby girl with me, which I think she was just 21. I think she turned 21 with me. She lived with me. And my daughter, Kool-Aid, she lived down the street from me. Couple of blocks down the street from me, and she has an already made family, and she had my grandson Shaka, and she had her baby father, she had her little already made family, and my daughter Princess, she lived in another out of town, few towns out, and she, she's with my baby girl Chula. She didn't have none of that, and she's living her life. My son, he was in jail, and my other son, we were estranged. So I was like, maybe I think I could do Texas because my kids are living their lives, and they're healthy. They don't need me right now, and let's try it. So I talked to my husband about it. He did not want to do it at all. My daughter, she didn't really say anything too much about it, because she didn't have to go. She didn't want to. She could have, stayed behind with one of her siblings or whatever, but she decided to go with her mama. And my husband, he just did not want to do it. And I said, listen, I want to go because I want to meet my other nieces and nephews from my sister. I want to go there and get some love, you know what I mean, from a sibling that I haven't got before. I was like, you got to understand that. I've never got that from a parent and at the time siblings and stuff like that. I'm ready. I'm ready to get loved on. And he said, okay. So we did move there. We drove. Took us 24 hours to get there. We rented a U-Haul and a carport. So I had my carport, I brought my car, and we drove in a U-Haul. And I have to tell you, not everybody has your best interest, even when they find out that you're siblings. The first day when I got there, everything was peachy keen, everything was fine. But that second day, totally different from the person who I met when she came to see me. And I was like, nah, this can't be, because I just uprooted myself from Connecticut and moved to Texas. This can't be right, because I know this can't be right. And no, my sister totally changed up soon as we got there that next day. So when I tell you that people, just because you find out you have siblings and stuff like that, don't think that they have the same intention as you. Because some of them do and then some of them don't. I wound up having one that didn't have the good intentions for me and my family. Now, mind you, we were coming up there to freeload because we paid over $2,300 just to even get there. We had our money. We paid it was $2,300 just for the U-Haul and the carport, never mind the gas money. So it was all together $2,300, and that's not even the gas money that we had to move there with. Okay. And plus my husband, he got a job, and got a job when he first got there. We weren't planning on like living in their household forever. You know what I mean? Because we came there with money. $2,300 to get there, and plus the gas money. We had like nearly $6,000. So we were straight. And my husband got a job as soon as he got there. Took him like maybe 2 weeks, but by the third week, he was already working. Yeah, we had our own food, we had our own money, we didn't eat any of the food or anything like that. We were straight, for a person to come from out of Connecticut to move to Texas, we were fine. Okay, but the ambiance of it all was not a good one. She changed her way. My nieces they're 23, 24, they're older. Then there's my other niece, I think she's 9, 10, and had a great nephew and stuff, but they were just as weird, and I have to say, and whack, because it didn't make any sense. Now, the only reason I can figure out why that they would act weird like that, down to my nieces, is because they didn't look too too good. You know, I want to say hating or something like that because, you know, honestly, they they weren't cute at all. They just didn't look cute at all. I'm sorry because I could say that because how, and you'll understand why I said it after. They just they weren't cute. And my sister had a husband, and I don't know if she thought I would ever look at him or anything like that. But it was far in between because I would never do anything like that. But because I had a husband, I came there with him. But come to find out, she wasn't all that person who I thought she was. Not even to her husband. And that's just facts. What I got out of when she came to visit me and when I went there. So now weeks are coming in, going by. We wind up going to dinner together. And she never had a good conversation. She never had any conversation at all with me. It's like I had to pry it out of her. Like she just showed me a different look on. She just gave me a different look of how she really was. She talked about everybody, which I don't understand. But so did her daughters. The vibe that they gave me, that they just, and what I seen, they talked about everybody, and the only thing they talked about was sex. Sex, to where I told them that my husband and I don't even have any. Because honestly, it was just, to me, we're not even conversating, but the one thing that you want to talk about is sex was so inappropriate that I didn't even feel comfortable talking about it with them. Why would I want to talk about my sex life, about my husband and I, to them? They talked about so much I didn't want to hear anything about it. I just said, listen, we don't even have sex. You know, I was like, yeah, no, we don't do that. We're old and we just don't do it. And that's how I left it. Until one day her daughter my niece wind up giving me a damn dildo. I was like, what the hell? And I showed my husband, I'm like, look at what they gave me. I'm like, I don't understand. Look at, if you got a good relationship with your kids and you could talk like that, more power to you. To me, I thought it was whack. I thought it was disgusting. My niece handed me, buying me a dildo, and saying here. I'm like, and then showing her mom, like they went to the store together, like they were buying all sorts of stuff for themselves. Go for it. But the mom, I could never do that with my kids and go into the store and buy me something like that, buy myself something like that and show my kid. I would never do anything like that. But whoever does, to each his own. More power to you. Don't come for me. So I'm like, okay, so you don't want to, we can't even have any good conversation. You're talking about this and this and that, and that's the only thing you want to talk about. So come to find out, she didn't have time for me at all. Like I would say, I'm like, look, sis, what we're gonna do. She was like, look, you're gonna have to get it together because I haven't been here for a while in Texas, and I don't know everything. She's been there for 7 years. I'm like, so I tell my husband, he's like, what? So I said, okay. I was like, this can't be real. And I was like, she just said that we're gonna have to find our way because she hasn't been here for a while. She's been there for 7 years, 6 or 7 years, or something like that. And through all the pictures that I seen on her Facebook, she was somewhere. I was like, okay, this is how it's going. I was like, so now we just feel uncomfortable. My daughter, my husband, and I. So we just stay in the room. Come out to cook something, and we just come out to cook, then go back in the room. I was like, listen, we're gonna have to leave because I don't feel comfortable, and Thody Bird don't feel comfortable, I'm sure, and I know you don't. He was like, yep, well, let's go. So he worked his behind off. I had my own money. He worked his behind off. We got up our money to rent the U-Haul again, and the carport and the gas money to move back. So I know everybody's going to be like, oh my God, where did you go when you moved back? Well, I'm going to tell you that at another time because it gets more juicier before we left. So this is the Black Diamond Mzfit, aka She Fancy Huh, aka Miss Fancy Wigs. Again, this is my story and I'm the only one that can tell it. Again, this is Black Diamond Mzfit, and peace out.